There's this guy from Canada called Brad, and a guy from Yorkshire, he's called Dan. They got together when the Battles tried to kill them, and made this podcast to talk about their illness. Brad and Dan are talking shit. Brad and Dan are talking shit. Yes, Brad and Dan are talking shit to you and you and you.
Hello and welcome to the Talking Shit with Brad and Dan podcast. I am Dan, and with me as always is the Mario to my Luigi, the Sonic to my Tails, and the Ryu to my E-Honda. Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Dan. How are you?
So we need to explain that we've been away for a little while. As well, I've been getting my glamour shots done. Brad has been moving intercontinentally if you're in Europe, but in Canada it's moving next door. How's the big move gone, Brad? I imagine it's been completely unstressful, as these things always are.
Oh, completely unstressful. We're in a bit of a smaller space, so I've been trying to, as you can see, I'm in a kitchen. That's new for me. But it's going good.
Just being in a kitchen or recording in a kitchen.
If I want a snack, I'll get extra long headphones for it.
So, slightly different vibe to the podcast today. We are doing a Gaming4Guts Battle Royale. So, Brad, why don't you give us a little introduction around the room to all the cats and kittens who are playing with us today?
All right. Well, down in the... Oh, wait. I'm going to actually look at my recording because I've got you guys situated in different spots because I'm silly. At the bottom left, we have my co-creator, Rob. We've been doing this for too long now.
The podcast itself, I mean, it's only 2 minutes in. That's a fairly pessimistic view.
Hey, that's a long time, man. A long
That's stamina
time.
For some people.
Right?
I was just about to say exactly the same thing.
We're all getting
My
old
wife would
here.
be very impressed.
We're getting old. And to Rob's right, we have Mackenzie, also known as Slur. Hi. And then to her right, we have Mark, who everyone has met on our very first podcast. On the extreme left, we have John, who we also call Old Man.
Because I am of an extremely advanced age.
He's also taking a break.
As made evident by my gray beard and bald head, so, you know.
I got the gray coming into my beard finally. You can't see it in here.
And I'm just wearing a wig.
Time.
I cut it short when...
And I have no idea what's going to happen to my lawn while we're recording, so just know that my stress levels are really high right now because I know those kids are going to get on that lawn.
Watch out for the Texas news.
Real mad.
Those roaming kids.
You never know when they're going to show up, so...
So this is a Gaming4Guts Battle Royale. So who wants to field my first question and give me a little slice of what Gaming4Guts is?
Oh boy.
Don't all answer at once.
I feel I'm going to throw this one to John because he is, with his old radio talent, he is very good at selling us.
What Gaming4Guts is... Well, as we are a collective of video game fans, nerds, and this is the brainchild of Brad and Rob. This is the thing that they came up with 8 years ago now.
9 years.
And it's a video game charity marathon that we've been putting together for all this time. And, we've really grown over the years. We all play our own different things. Some people play stuff together. I'm an old school retro gamer, so I play all my stuff by myself, where I'm playing like old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games for a whole weekend of fun and raising money for different organizations. Historically, we've done the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, coming up here in a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, the Crohn's and Colitis of Canada Foundation, and we just try to raise awareness and money for those organizations, as well as just what Crohn's and colitis actually are, and IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, because a lot of people don't know what these things are. They've heard about them. They might know someone in their periphery, like, I've got a friend who's got a son, I've got a cousin that's got a buddy that has Crohn's. don't really know what it's about, but I've heard about it. I've seen the Stellara commercials on TV talking about it, but aside from that, I don't really know what it is. So that's one of the things that we really tried to get out during our events is what are Crohn's and colitis? How do they affect people? How are they managed? And what can people do to help support those that are affected with these diseases?
Yeah. And
Cool.
I'm proud of the fact that though there's a lot more of people doing it these days, we're one of the originators of creating an event like this that wasn't some physical event where most charity events are walking, running, this type of thing. We wanted an event that was open to all, including all IBD folks who, we don't get out a lot when we're sick. So this is something everyone can do. Even your grandma.
So it's a little hard to go for a jog when you got to take a crap every 15 minutes.
Hey, at least I can take a crap while
that you got to take care of, and
so Brad, call me suspicious, but I'm suspecting there's a reason we're recording this podcast right now. Is there perchance an event on the very near horizon that this podcast is going to be connected with?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. We're, as John mentioned, we're 9 years in. We've worked with CCF for all those 9 years, but Crohn's and Colitis Canada actually came to us asking us to host a Canadian event. So for World IBD Day, May 19th, going through the weekend, we'll be hosting our first G4G Canada with a side of maple syrup.
Okay. Do you specially post it out to people yourself, or do they have to buy their own?
The maple syrup? Nah, they gotta get their own.
Cheapskate.
You're not gonna fax me any? Geez, okay. Thanks.
You check your fax. It's coming.
I'll check my fax machine and make sure you can send me the maple syrup.
Yeah.
I want the good stuff this time.
Okay. Straight from Quebec.
Okay, so in honor of Gaming4Guts and Crohn's Colitis Canada and your event extraordinaire, we thought we would do a Gaming4Guts Battle Royale. So I'm going to pitch each of you Gaming4Guts brethren against each other in a ridiculous quiz. I will mock you as much as physically possible throughout, and in the end we will find some champion who can hold on to the title with their cold dead hands until next year, when we will hopefully do this again. So we will crack right on. I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to each ask you to answer a simple question. So, as it was mentioned, this Gaming4Guts is slightly nerd adjacent, so we will start with the Holy Trilogy itself. Given that the new Star Wars game has computer game fans around the world positively lactating and salivating and producing other bodily functions that I care not to mention, here is the question.
Is that you?
Who is the true hero in Star Wars, the original trilogy? I want none of this nonsense about the prequels or the sequels. I'm talking Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. So, you know what? As we know you so well, Brad, why don't we start with you? Who is the true hero of the Holy Trilogy?
Well, I myself, I'm not going to go with anyone that most people would go with right away. I'm going to go with Wicket. Thank you, Rob, for the name, because my brain does not remember. But the Ewoks from the Return of the Jedi were always a fan of mine. I thought they were awesome.
They were a fan of yours?
Yeah, they loved me.
Wow, they were fairly forward-facing.
That's how I started following them. They followed me first.
I mean, Freud would have a field day here. The small, cuddly creature that you can snuggle up to on a nighttime for warmth is the creature that you go for as a true hero. But why is this creature the hero of the story when you're ignoring so many archetypal heroes
because
out there?
They created chaos. Chaos is what wins in the end. They helped topple the Empire.
Okay.
You'll notice You'll notice that I have a theme because they're gonna go with the chaos and creature things.
You're trying to come across as an agent of chaos.
Oh hell yeah!
You're trying to rebrand. Is that what you're going with?
Rebrand. I've always been an agent of chaos.
I mean, Crohn's disease is chaos in our guts.
It's very true.
So you're saying Brad is Crohn's and Crohn's is Brad? I mean, Brad's got an awful. He's got an awful lot to answer for if he's inflicted Crohn's on all these people around the world. But so, Rob, who's your hero?
I'm going with R2D2. Yeah, I was going to use the other movies.
Right.
He's like.
To be fair, guys, you've all lost. That's 1,000 points to Rob. R2D2 is clearly the true hero of the Holy Trilogy. But, for the sake of conversation, we'll go to Mackenzie next.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to have to go with Obi-Wan for the hero of Star Wars.
I mean, he tapped out fairly quickly.
He did, but he's also one of it feels like the linchpins of, the movie, just because so much of the beginning surrounded him with R2D2 and Princess Leia and all that stuff. So while he was quickly out, I did think that he's one of those characters that is pivotal to the story.
I mean, I would agree. Think it was a bit of a dick to Luke, to be honest. He could have told him straight off the bat, Vader's your dad, Leia's your sister, don't kiss her. But, we'll slide over that one. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you a solid 10 points for that. Mark, what's your answer?
My answer. Okay, so while Obi-Wan is very important, as Mackenzie said, is a linchpin to the hero's journey of Luke, I have to go with the actor Sir Alec Guinness, because
who famously wasn't a character in the Holy Trilogy.
Yeah, but because he told George Lucas his writing was totally shit, and then he wanted his character killed. Yeah. And then, out of spite, George Lucas makes Sir Alec Guinness's character the most important character in the entire series.
I mean,
therefore, Sir Alec Guinness gamed it to making so much money for doing jack shit.
He did. He made
perfect score.
I didn't ask who was the smartest actor in the Holy Trilogy, though, did I? I didn't ask who got the best paycheck for doing the least fucking work.
No.
I asked who was the hero.
He's still the hero. He's still the hero.
No, you're down 1,000 points there.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, but when it comes to the Force, Sir Alec Guinness straight up told.
I mean, you're going to learn.
They were going to die.
Fairly
They
quickly.
died in real life.
Okay, so you're minus 1,500 points now. The more you argue your point, when I've said you're losing, the more points you're going to lose. So you're a minus 1,500. Well done. John, go on. See if you can salvage something from this train wreck of a first round.
Well, since I can't pick midichlorians, and I didn't even know that a Star Wars game came out after Empire Strikes Back on Atari 2600. That's news to me.
Which was one of my favorite games of all time. Yep.
That was a great game.
Just my for the
initial
music.
Yeah, it was great. Who knew the Atari could sound that good? My initial answer is Princess Leia.
Okay.
Because out of everyone else, she has
only
to put up with
female
all
in
their
the universe.
shit. Yeah, she's got to put up with all their shit and try to keep things working. Got to work past all these male egos. Everyone's trying to get with her. Sticking her brother away. Hey, dude, back off a little bit. All right, go find your own girl.
And
I'm
coming
sister,
up
leave
with
me
one
alone.
of the best put downs of all time, which is the Nerf herder put down. Your scruffy looking Nerf herder. So, and
the only thing that Han had an issue with in that whole thing was that he was scruffy looking.
Yeah,
so
precisely. Okay, I'll give you 50 points for that. Well done. So that's the first round done. Cats and kittens. I think Mark has probably learnt a valuable lesson early on.
No, I haven't.
That I am.
There's always next year, Mark.
Yeah,
Mark
he has a shovel now. He only knows how to dig.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's going to get an excavator next.
You could do really well in the worst score ever. We could run this for the next 25 years, and you could be
Yeah.
worst.
Hey, sometimes you
but let's
still
see.
win even if you lose.
I know, knowing me,
No,
I
that's
want to
not-
fight
that's
you
not
for
true.
worse.
That's just what your mum tells you.
Nah.
My mom doesn't tell me that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next question. We're going to go broad here. We're going to move away from the Holy Trilogy, although I would love to talk about that and nothing else for the rest of my life. Ultimate Hero. So there is a evil Emperor Bradalar, who has taken over the universe, and he has his superpowers to enslave all of humanity and all lesser-known species to us. Which hero across all games and TV and film that you are aware of would you choose to take on the evil Bradalar, who is essentially Darth Vader with a stoma?
Sweet. Can my stoma be the one going? Can I put a voice box on it?
Yeah. So, Brad, as you're so keen to chip in, you can go first. Blow us away. Who's your hero to save the day?
I'm going to go with my same theme of chaos and little creatures, and I'm going Stitch, man. Stitch is a force to be reckoned with.
Stitch from the film Lilo and Stitch, or Lilo and Stitch, whatever you...
Yeah, man.
Okay. Just explain a little. I've not seen Lilo and Stitch since I worked in a cinema 20 years ago, so you may need to bring me up to speed. What superpowers is Stitch going to destroy the evil Bradalar with?
Well, he will start with a lovely Elvis rendition and then work into just creating the most amount of chaos that will utterly confuse the bad guy, and then he'll just push him down a pit. That or eat him.
Can I just write you off for every answer you're going to give as chaos?
Yeah.
So blue wicket. You picked a blue wicket for this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just
okay.
I mean, you both picked Warwick Davis.
That's yeah. Well, ask Rob and Mackenzie in the Space Jammers campaign. That's literally all I was doing was chaos. Anything that I could create chaos, I did it.
Yeah,
I'm going to fine you 5 points for the amount of times you say chaos again in this podcast.
Chaos.
Okay, so with that, you're now down to minus 30.
I'm coming for you, Mark.
Okay. So, Rob, let's go to you next.
I said Christopher Walken because I just want to see him square off against evil Brad in like a dance-off.
Oh, yes.
It would be good to see Walken and Brad do a little dance-off in a New York hotel, a la Fatboy Slim music video. So if we could set that up, I think that'd be good. Other than shaming the evil Bradalar, I'm not kind of sure what is.
They could have a cook-off after that.
I don't know. Shame works.
A cook-off. I
think you're missing the whole overthrowing, rather than just becoming friends with the evil overlord. This is like, I'm going to take him out, we're going to have a few drinks, I'll cook him something spicy, and then we'll have a nice little dance.
That's the new way to take on evil. You show them kindness.
No, that's a new way to get chlamydia. It's a different story. Okay, so, I mean, I love Christopher Walken, so you get cool points for that. So why don't we say you get... I'll give you 25 points for that. Okay, so John, on to you.
On to me. I gotta go with my original favorite, most powerful man in the universe, He-Man, because
like it.
He-Man could just,
I mean,
grab the stoma and pull it off and throw it out into space, and what are you gonna do then?
But I think you've kind of targeted the age bracket that I'm in there. Clearly, He-Man was an action figure.
As you can see behind me, I have my original Castle Grayskull on display, as well as my Fright Zone and Snake Mountain. I've got my Hive set from Sectars right here. I've got all kinds of He-Man toys all over the place.
We're not going to check out your crib. Calm yourself.
Wait, this isn't our new...
wait, this isn't MTV's Cribs?
No.
I thought we were bringing it back.
No, I'm simply not interested enough to do that. Sorry. So, okay, John, because He-Man kicks ass, and you've got a camp little tiger to play with as well. I'm going to give you 100 points. Well done. Let's go with Mackenzie next, who is your hero to save the day from the evil Bradalar, who is currently kissing Christopher Walken behind a curtain somewhere.
Geralt of Rivia.
Scandalous.
The White Wolf.
Okay, you're gonna have to expand on this one for me.
He's from The Witcher. There's a book series and several video games on him. And then he fights evil monsters and he gets paid to do it. So as long as someone has paid him enough money to go beat Bradlar, we should be fine.
And there's no chance of him like sharing spaghetti and kissing in a back street of a
absolutely not.
He is prone to a nice naked hot tubbing
with ladies.
That's true, with ladies. But
Bradlar's not a lady.
I mean, that's
not right now.
I don't know. You know, he could wear a oversized merkin and cover things up and hope for the best.
Hey, Bradlar's not opposed to wearing a dress.
Okay.
It's
okay,
the 21st
Mark.
century. We can be what we want.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can redeem yourself a little, or just continue digging down to China.
I'm gonna have to go with Rustin Cole from the first season of True Detective. If you're unfamiliar with who that is, was played by basically Matthew McConaughey as a crackhead, but this crackhead is a homicide detective, and as he so poignantly puts at the end of the series, when he looks out into the stars of the night sky, and his partner's like, well, what are you looking at? And he's like, you see up there all the darkness and there's all these little lights. And the guy's like, yeah, it kind of looks like the darkness is winning. And Rustin Cole looks at his partner and says, well, if you ask me, the light is, because all there was dark before. And he spends his entire career chasing down and hunting evil at no matter what cost it takes to him, including, basically abandoning his homicide detective badge and going on a killing spree of a bunch of drug gang bikers so that he can get information on the serial killer that they're actually tracking.
Okay, what happened to him in series 2 and series 3?
Series 2 and
characters.
They do different characters between each season. So
he was such a hero he didn't get a second series, is what you're saying?
No, he went and got off on his cocaine or whatever Mark said.
Oh yeah, he caught and killed the serial killer, and his story was done and over with. That's just the way Nick Palazzo writes the stories.
So he would find the evil emperor, kill him, and then go and do crack with Christopher Walken while they eat spaghetti. Okay.
I mean, Christopher Walken and him can do the crack. That's cool.
Yeah, why not? Okay, I'm going to give you. I'll give you 25 points for that. I think I've been a little generous. I just can't see Matthew McConaughey squaring up against a Darth Vader type character.
Happens if you picture the Elvis, Agent Elvis version of him fighting off of Vader. There's a cartoon on Netflix called Agent Elvis, which is basically Elvis if it was Archer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cartoon on Netflix that came out a couple months ago.
Essentially
I'm
Archer,
aware
but
of what Archer
Elvis.
is, but I just don't know how that figures with any of the characters that have been spoken about.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
That's like, I'll just come out and say, I don't know, Godzilla, because there's green stuff in, a Christopher Walken video. That's about as joined up as you're thinking is there.
But he's not cute and fluffy.
We are. Oh God, this is as much as a car crash as I thought it would be. Okay, so let's.
It'd be a lot cooler if it was.
Okay, so let's bring it back to computer games, as this is Gaming4Guts Battle Royale, and you are all frankly terrible with heroes. So this question is, what is the greatest computer game to have been brought to life by the medium of movie or TV? So that is an existing computer game, not something that was a computer game in a book that you once read in a dream, Brad. It actually has to be a physical computer game, which was then translated into a movie or film, just to really hammer home the point. So let's go with Mackenzie first. What's your greatest TV or movie game crossover?
game TV crossover would have to be The Witcher. It's
The Witcher. I'm sensing you have a special place in your heart for The Witcher.
I really enjoy Henry Cavill in it. I'm really upset that he's not going to be The Witcher anymore after season 3, so I may not watch it anymore, but I've really enjoyed him acting in it because he's a huge gamer. He's read the books, so he's played the game, so he takes the role to heart and has done a fantastic job.
I'm going to assume he's better in that than he was as Superman.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's well worth watching.
Okay, I haven't seen it, and this is through no fault of your own, but you're going to get 10 points for that. I can't give anything more than that because I don't know if you're talking shit or not. But, you know, thanks for coming out. Mark, let's go with you first. Next, Stephen.
Okay. The best movie or like extra media franchise that's ever been attempted from a video game has to be Wing Commander, because as we touched on Star Wars earlier, it has Mark Hamill as a voice actor in it. He is prevalent in the video game series itself. Everyone can crap on Freddie Prinze Jr. in the movie. I mean, it's Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, so I mean, like, we can shit on him. It's a fun watch. It's really enjoyable. You know, it's not a blockbuster, but I think visually as a sci-fi, it's a phenomenal like geek and nerd out thing. Plus, it's actually better than anything Chris Roberts has done since that movie was made, and that includes Star Citizen. So
there it is.
Okay, so purely for the sake of this being a competition, I'm going to give you 475 points for that, just so it brings you back to minus 1,000. Just so we get a little bit of rivalry going.
I like it.
Okay, so John, let's go with you next.
I think the original 1994 Mortal Kombat movie was a pretty good way to bring a video game and make it into a movie. The fight scenes were good. You know, the special effects for the time.
Mortal Kombat film.
Yeah, and you know well, I will say Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a bunch of shit, but the first one that, like, to me, the only visual effect that was kind of crappy was Reptile. Looked pretty terrible, but once Reptile came in and started fighting, hey, that was pretty cool. I can't remember Home Slice's name that played Shang Tsung, but he was cool. A fantastic actor in so many things in the 90s. Great actor, and I cannot think of his name.
Honestly, but just because you've kept us bang up to date with the youth audience using the term home slice, you've got 150 points. So, Rob, let's move on to you.
I'm going to change my answer and go with Captain N, the old Nintendo cartoon that had like the worst Belmont ever in it in the 80s.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So
old Nintendo cartoon, Captain N.
Did you have that as over there? You might not have, because it was like an NBC Saturday morning cartoon show that combined a bunch of.
We had the Earthworm Jim cartoon. I don't know if that actually predated the game, or
it came out after the game.
Yeah, I literally have not thought about Captain N since I was like 4 years old. Right? So, that's 30 years of history right there that's buried.
Yeah, he had Belmont, Kid Icarus, and Mega Man on his team before anyone knew who those characters were. It was just a big commercial for Nintendo every Saturday. But
I don't know if I ever actually watched it.
No, I mean, you were doing well when you said it was the OG, and then you just said, but it was just a big commercial for Nintendo.
That's what most Saturday morning cartoons are.
That's what all cartoons are.
This is a fair point. I mean, we could...
I mean, he used the Nintendo Zapper as a gun.
Nice.
And had a power glove.
Was that around the same time as the Super
NES
Show?
Controller that he could pause time?
Yeah. It was peak 80s, like, we need to sell stuff to kids.
I'm sensing that if I don't give you some points for this, it's going to break your heart. So I'm I'm going to give you 50 points. Okay, there we go. Just because I don't want to see a grown man cry. Brad, come on, bring it home.
Oh, yeah, right. I was just like fucking brain.
Yeah, no, fine.
I'm gonna go with The Last of Us because we picked some
Last of Us. Okay,
some good ones.
Serious.
And that was a to put it a good way is my wife, who doesn't know much about gaming, was very, very into it, and also probably will watch me play the game if I get it eventually because she liked it that much. Which is a huge sell. She doesn't give a shit about me playing video games. Like,
so it's the only way you've found for your wife to want to spend time with you, is what you're saying.
Sure, let's go with
that.
The
sympathy vote there. Sympathy vote there is astronomical. I'll give you 500 points. Well done. I think you won that round. So
yay for being lonely.
You're not supposed to be lonely in a relationship, bro.
Okay, so the big one. You each have 30 seconds to convince me that your favourite game of all time should receive the top points in this argument. Okay? And let me just get ready while I get a little timer together. Have a little think about your favourite games and the hours that you've spent with friends or on your own, in Brad's case, playing your favourite game, what it's meant to you, what it's meant to the world, what joy it's brought to the world, what heartbreak it's brought to the world. So, I mean, straight off the bat, you know that there's great games out there on every platform. You could talk about some of the open worlders, you could talk about some of the old platformers, you could talk about something that's been revolutionary, or you could talk about something that just made you lose hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of your life, and with that, social skills. So, John, why don't we go with you first?
My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy 2 / Final Fantasy 4 from the Super Nintendo.
I mean, that's two games.
No, it's
it's the same. It's the same game in America. When it was originally released, it's called Final Fantasy 2, but in the actual list of Final Fantasy games, it's Final Fantasy 4. It's the fourth one in the series.
And why?
So we'll call it Final Fantasy
12
4.
seconds.
Okay, it is the game that really helped establish RPGs having great stories. It had fantastic music. People were dying in it. And
there we go.
Overall,
That's
it just makes me
up.
happy.
Okay, so we went a little up. So Final Fantasy, yes, I am aware of. The thing that always sticks out in my mind, which always I found slightly puzzling about Final Fantasy, is the taking a turn in combat. Now, I've been in a few fights in my life, and you know, waiting to be punched until you can punch someone back always just struck me as slightly odd. Beautiful game, but the combat just always let me down.
You don't have people just skipping in step, waiting to fight. You just one at a time.
That's not how it works in the movies.
Yeah, I thought that's how life worked.
I saw Van Damme fight 5 guys, but they each took a turn.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very different movie. Mackenzie, let's go with you next.
So, my favorite game
starts now.
My favorite game of all time is Diddy Kong Racing. When this game came out like 25 years ago, I played so much of it with my sister, my friends. So there's a lot of childhood nostalgia with that game. We spent hours playing it, figuring out fastest way around the track. And I like it more than Mario Kart. So every time I see a new Mario Kart, I'm like, why isn't it Diddy Kong Racing? I'm ready for it to be out on the Switch. But that's like my favorite game probably of all time.
I mean, you get bonus points for fitting your argument in within 30 seconds.
It was the best kart racer of its time.
Also, well done for not saying Witcher. That's a plus.
That's a good point.
So I've given you 350 points there. Well done. Mark, let's go with you next. And your time starts now.
Okay, so I have to go with MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat, because first of all, giant robot combat. Second of all, totally customizable weaponry in the game, something that you don't see for like another 15 years in video games. It had 3D combat. You could jump, you could side strafe, things that became very common in all other first-person shooters. And it allowed you to use your imagination to fill in the gaps between the visuals and the elaborate story that was written down between each mission. And that's my
Okay.
argument.
Very good. Just for your technical knowledge of all the things it brought to screen first, I'm going to give you 350 points as well. Well done. I mean, you're still way fucking behind, but well done.
I'll take my negative 700.
Yeah. Well, wait until you see how bad my maths is. Brad, let's go with you next.
Well, I'll wait for you to give me the timer.
All right.
Yeah,
The
get with
time
it.
starts now.
I am choosing Half-Life 2 because it helped revolutionize first-person shooters on games in general. It introduced physics system that we regularly see today. It helped introduce solid storylines, which we see in shooters a lot more going forward. The mechanics were fucking a blast to play at the time, and we still kind of lament wanting that type of physics in games, modern games these days. Give me the
Time up.
No!
I'll give you nothing. You get
Want the
nothing.
gun.
You
What's the
get
gun
more
called, Mark?
Space to speak. Okay, so modern
The
shooters.
gravity gun?
It was
That's it.
the
Thank you.
grandparent of modern shooters. Okay, you get points for that. The fact that I'm
We
not a particular
are
fan of
old.
the first person shooters, you lose points for that. So yeah, I'll give you 200. Okay, so and to really slam home this round, Rob, give us something to be cheerful about.
All right.
Your time starts. Wait for it, or you lose points. Now.
I'm going to pick Dungeon and Dragon because a throwaway line that I said once has turned into a campaign over the years about a magical cow. It's just a game you can't break. So yeah, that's why
Endless imagination.
pick Dungeon and Dragon. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, immediately, and you will not know this, but you earn points because you've referenced a magical cow, which I once played a magical cow in a drama production in my high school. So well done, you get 500 points.
I want to know about this drama
However,
production.
you all lose points for not choosing the original Sonic the Hedgehog or Super Mario Brothers. So yeah, you're all down.
Super Mario 3
that.
was definitely on my list.
Yeah, but you didn't say it, Brad, did you?
No, I didn't, because I chose Half-Life. But it was what I was going to choose first.
Okay, so are we all positively anticipating the final scores?
Oh, yes.
We have one more round.
Ooh.
One more round before the final game, before the final playoff to see who the Gaming4Guts champion is. And I didn't mention that the loser of the final round has a forfeit in the Gaming4Guts extravaganza, which I will announce when I've made it up. So the next round is really quite simple. I'm going to give you... sorry, let me just look at my notes because I've forgotten what the next round is. Where are we? In fact, no. I've completely messed up, so Brad, you'll have to edit that bit out. So from the game we just played, I'm going to choose two of you to face off in the finale for the biggest points. So, and I'm going to give you a subject that you have to defend that you may consider indefensible. So the winner from the last round, or the winners, was Rob, Mark, and Mackenzie. So I'm going to give you each a subject that you have to defend like your life depends on it for 1 minute. And the winner of this will get the points from the round. The rest of you get nothing. Is that clear? I hope not. Okay. So, Mackenzie, you can go first.
Okay.
Your subject is going to be that Sega is superior to Nintendo in every way.
It is.
Your time starts now.
It is superior to Nintendo in every way. There were a lot of great games on the Sega. I played that a lot as a kid with, they have Sonic, that's kind of the beginning, middle, and end of the argument. They got all the Sonic games. I enjoyed it a lot as a kid playing Sega, and I was sad to see, when it eventually went away because they had a lot of good games, a lot of good OG games.
Anything other than Sonic you can name?
Fuck, no. This is what I remember playing as a kid. You'll have to excuse me. I'm pregnant and my baby's like eating my brain. So.
Okay, I'll give you a point for that, but I don't hold out much hope. Okay, so who's next? Mark, you can come up with the next one. That Star Wars is overblown nonsense and should never be seen again by anyone. Go.
I mean, Star Wars is actually overblown nonsense. I mean, the man invented the term Wookiee after his friend saw a scraggly looking dog on the side of the road. He's kind of a hack writer. He basically winged it. He 100% was told by the Screen Actors Guild to, get stuffed and that no one was going to help him film his product. And he went through with it anyways, was, laughed at and mocked, somehow got really lucky with basically a giant explosion at the end of the first film that kind of catapulted it into, everyone's minds.
No films in the history of the world have ever been made successful through giant explosions.
Yeah, basically, like he Michael Bay'd it before Michael Bay was here, and then somehow Disney thought that was even more marketable. They're like, "Oh, Michael Bay, but in space? Yeah, let's take this. Let's keep running." And I mean,
that's your time. I mean, you could have won that round really easily by saying,
Jar Jar
6
Binks.
words. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. You didn't, so you lose.
Honestly, the new ones might replace the whole Episode 1 through 3.
No, because the new ones, I kind of had the joy of seeing the old gang back together, and I
For
know
the
it's
first
completely
movie, then the next ones were shit after shit. Like they just went worse.
They either killed the actors or the actors died on their own to avoid showing up again.
This is very true, but I had the joy of taking my kids to see the last 3, and their reactions to it is kind of my reaction as a kid. So I know I should be far less sentimental than that, but it's my quiz, and fuck you guys. So,
how do you really feel?
Yeah.
How do I really feel? Nothing but loathing. So Rob, the final question for you, and I hope you're braced because I haven't thought of it yet. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Which is the greater? Go. And remember, this is all based on my preference, so good luck.
I mean, Street Fighter just gave us that classic movie that, Street Fighter... You beat up a car for no reason, for bonus points.
We all wanted to do that. Isn't that basically what the early Grand Theft Auto was?
Yeah, but I mean,
punching
cars. Yeah. So Street Fighter is the reason we have Grand Theft Auto. So that's why I'm picking it, because of the car punching.
I mean, the real key here is there are so many characters from the Mortal Kombat films that appeared in Big Trouble in Little China originally. So being a child and being able to play some of the cast of Big Trouble in Little China in Mortal Kombat, that's clearly the winner. I mean, you all sucked at that round. So the points actually go to John and Brad, because you were all so terrible. So... there we go. That's 100 points to each of Brad and John. And I need to add up these scores now because it's just scribbles on a notepad, to be honest. So I'm just going to decide which one of you has been the most engaging. So why don't you guys talk a little about the Gaming for Guts extravaganza and some of the things that people could get involved with, while I tot up these scores, some of the things you might be doing and where they can get involved. Brad, why don't you kick us off with that?
So... we have what we were talking about earlier. G4G Canada is coming up the weekend of May 19th through the 21st, which just happens to start on World IBD Day. This is our first Canadian event. We are hoping to do it up in style like we've done in the past. Full weekend games. We have hopefully still our big D&D one-shot happening. We're going to have several... We're still working on it, but milestones and such. At some point, I'm sure I'm going to be drinking shots of maple syrup. I've thought of showcasing Canadian games. Yeah, I know, Mark. I've been trying to think of things. There's a lot going on. Yeah. Jeez, but you can find us at, I'm going to give the short URL, which is tinyurl.com/G4G Canada 2023. There you can find us, you can donate, you can join to stream alongside us. You can find our Discord. That one's a lot harder. Maybe look for us on Twitter, which is also at g4g.com, where you can.
And our website, gaming4guts.org, has lots of links too.
I always forget about
that. We really need a link tree that we can.
We do. We have a link
tree. We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank God. I didn't know.
It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook.
It's on Twitter as well. I just brain.
Okay.
Do we have a link for the link tree? I don't know.
Yeah.
See, she built the link tree. I only just started using it. Starting big events like this is hard, man. It might not seem like it, but.
Linktree Gaming for Guts. That's how you can find us there.
Perfect. That's the good way to end. So, are you all quivering with anticipation as to who has won and who can lord it over you all for the next year or so?
I hope I have lost tremendously.
Well, not as tremendously as somebody else.
Yeah, Mark.
So, yeah. So I mean, Mark, I'm sorry, I stopped counting.
It's impressive, I know.
You're somewhere about the -700 mark. Which you clawed it back a long way after your first answer. You learned your lesson early on. Maybe next time you can actually claw some pride and dignity back into your life.
No,
I'm an American. I have no dignity. Just
I was gonna say,
I mean, you've got 500 points there, but it's still not enough.
In order to have pride and dignity back in your life, you had to have it to begin with.
That's a good point. What is pride and dignity?
Second to bottom is the evil overlord Bradalar with a whopping 100 points. I mean, to be fair, you were never going to win this, buddy.
That's okay.
Then in third, in bronze place, we have Mackenzie. And then the drum roll, please, for who is the Grand Overlord of Gaming4Guts. In second place, with 550 points, it's John. But the winner with a whopping 1,525 points, it is Rob.
Good job.
Good job,
well
Rob.
done. Congratulations. I hope you found this as enthralling as I did, which is very little. Catch up with all the guys from Gaming4Guts wherever they mentioned a minute ago, because I wasn't paying attention. Thank you for joining us. And myself and Brad, and maybe some of these guys, will see you again soon. Take care.
Till next time.
Bye.
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 There is this guy from Canada called Brad, and a guy from Yorkshire, he's called Dan. They got together when the battles tried to kill them, and made this podcast to talk about their illness. Brad and Dan are talking shit. Brad and Dan are talking shit. Yes, Brad and Dan are talking shit to you and you and you.